Yo, what's up, everybody? How are we all doing tonight? Let me know. I saw we had like 9 people waiting. Let me know. Let me know who we had in chat. For those of you guys on the, if you are interested in working one-on-one with me, I'm looking for some other guys to scale their business. Join my coaching program. You can check that out down below. You get tons of direct access to me, all that kind of stuff. I've been having a lot of fun helping those guys. I was on a call with them today, like workshopping like some repricing rules. Just it's been a lot of fun. So if you want to work together, you can check that out. Let's see who we got. What's up, Yusuf? How you doing, man? Gonna be going live for probably like 30 minutes or so. So feel free to drop any questions you guys have about selling on Amazon in the chat down there. I'll just be hanging out for a little bit. Let me also send out a notification. We spending plenty of money on product today? Been working with one of my new admin VAs, onboarding a couple new sourcing VAs tomorrow and the next day too. So excited to see what happens there. Been growing the team a little bit. Let me know who else we got here. Hit the Discord real quick. See what's good. Yesterday, love to hear it. That's what it's about, right? I used to look at it like daily spending. Daily spending is like a really good way to like make sure you're on track day to day. But at the end of the day, you got to make sure you just meet that monthly spending goal. That's what really matters. I have a full-time RV. Been doing Amazon about a year. That's awesome. That's super awesome. How much you selling? I assume it's like relatively part-time for you. Just kind of supporting the RV lifestyle there. That's sick. There's a couple guys I know who do that. I just talked to a guy. Interview will be up for YouTube probably in a week or two, who also travels around, all that good stuff. Anthony Bedanza, if you guys have ever seen his content, I think that's what he does too. It seems like a good life. 10K a month, that's awesome. Some days not much, yeah, and one day there's a bunch of leads. Yeah. It's very cyclical, right? And then you'll go a couple days where you're not finding very many leads at all, and then the next day after, it's like, whoa, I spent like 10-20K today. I was about to hang it up. So it's very it's a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. Yeah, as you guys hop in here, feel free to drop those any quick question you guys have. Gonna be hanging out here for a little bit. Just got to prove everything's no or reject. Been scanning for the last 3 hours. Yeah, if you're brand new to selling, then there's going to be gating on like a ton of stuff, right? Ungating is kind of broken right now, so you can just submit whatever you have, honestly. But yeah, it's going to take some work. You can use like Frontier Co-op if you want a wholesaler, and usually you don't have any friction with them. We've been using retail receipts, the occasional rejection, but we'll just submit again, and it fires away, right? So I'm gonna have enough capital to make the purchases to grow. That's a big one, right? Unfortunately, not every business wants more money, right? Not every business wants more online arbitrage leads, because that's usually gonna be the two things you're limited at. Either you're not finding enough leads or you don't have enough money. So you're in the boat where you're sourcing great, but you don't have enough money. So look at like if you really know what you're doing, you can look at like Amex Plum, that kind of thing, 0 APR cards. You can also leverage like Amazon loans and that kind of stuff. You're getting those offered. But that's awesome that's your limitation, right? Because most of the people in the chat, I bet, you can let me know if this is you. Most people are probably limited by sourcing. I would say very few people are limited by the capital, just in terms of the whole industry. What do you do if you're doing retail arbitrage and they ask for invoices due to quality issues? I don't do very much retail arbitrage, and that's part of the reason why. Online receipts work way better than like a physical receipt for IP purposes and all that. So that's one of several reasons why I don't do any RA anymore. I'd much rather build out the team and have them do a lot of the heavy lifting, having step in to help, all that good stuff. But you just can't leverage like team building and that kind of stuff. That's way more fun to me if you're only doing RA. I suppose you could build like in-person scanning teams and all that kind of stuff, but it's complicated. What percent of your business is wholesale? Probably like 5%, but definitely working on that. Been reaching out to some distributors. I actually placed like a 20K PO today. So working on getting into wholesale. What's your favorite category? I'd say we're like heaviest in like shoes and apparel right now. Trying to work out of that though. The high ASP in that category is just too juicy, especially if you're doing all to prep. But then you run into return issues and that kind of stuff. What is your go-to ROI per product? So you're going to want to look for like 35% ROI in most products. Sometimes it'll go down to like 25% if it's like grocery where you don't get returns. We might also go down if it's something that's super consistent. If it's something you know you're going to get heavy returns, like women's shoes, for example, we have higher profit thresholds for that. So it really depends on the type of product, like weigh the risk and all that kind of stuff. Tips on focusing, maximizing profit. Make sure your repricers are dialed in, and then make sure you're taking advantage of like everything possible to build extra discount, right? So to cash back, discounted gift cards, coupons, all that kind of stuff. Because when you're doing arbitrage, you're competing on a lot of the same brands, right? You don't have the same levers that some people in private label can pull and just kick everyone off the listing. So you got to be able to beat people on price. Any issues on Sony PlayStation games? I've sold some before. No issues thus far. You use a laser printer for F&SKU? I'm not sure. I think you're supposed to use a laser printer. But like I said, I don't really do the prep side of outsourced all that, so I'm not really involved in the nitty gritty of all that anymore, luckily. It's on 2 months. Ungating's already getting easier for you. Love to hear it. How many leads do your VAs find per day? Expect them to find? It's going to vary per like category and what they're sourcing, but it's also not a good way to think about it in terms of like how many leads are they finding, because they could find 10 leads. A different VA could find 1 lead and you can make 10 times more money on that 1 lead, right? And so for me, it's much more about profit generated. And so on the back end, we actually go in and track the profit that each virtual assistant is sourcing for us. So we run that report at the end of the month, have a custom spreadsheet, all that kind of stuff, relatively easy. But we're just going to run that report. And at the end of the month, it's like, hey, you generated, you didn't even replace your salary. So let's work together on that kind of stuff. So that's really what that you need to monitor is the profit on the back end. And if you're at the point where you're hiring virtual assistants and ready to scale and build the team and all that kind of stuff, that's exactly the kind of stuff that I've been working with coaching students on. So if you're at the point in your business where you're ready to scale like that, down below you can apply to join Lightspeed. I'll hook you up with that like custom spreadsheet I was talking about, a bunch of other custom stuff. That's really catered towards people doing like 10K at least a month, and then scaling from there. Struggling with sourcing, yeah, that's most people's problem. Gated on everything. Yeah, fire away with some Frontier, that kind of stuff. Thoughts on cash advance company like Payability? Is it viable to use them in the long term? A lot of them run like crazy, like loan shark type rates, right? So I do not recommend using them for the most part. As much as they would love to sponsor videos and stuff in my email, I cannot recommend those guys to you. If it's like last resort, then maybe, but those rates are crazy when you annualize them. How many units do you buy when you're testing out a new product? So that's something that you're able to skip a lot of when you have like experience and know-how. So we don't really test buy anymore. We're just buying straight out what we expect to sell for the next 30 days, unless we expect it to tank or anything like that. Like if we have hesitations, then we might buy smaller, but we're pretty much always just going straight into it. When you're newer though, you will want to test buy. So get into the rhythm of figuring out how many you think you'd sell that 30 days, and then maybe buy a week or two and see how it goes. And then eventually you're going to be like, all right, I'm correct. Let me start buying that full month of stock. And that's when it's going to be really a game changer, right? A lot of people can get to like 10, 20K with test orders, but to break out of that, it's a lot of just being able to rip straight into it. What's up, Jimmy? How's it going? True. Have a lot of Walmart leads you have to go pick up. Starting to get with a prep center. Any advice on that? Yeah, you're not gonna be able to do that if you're gonna do a prep center. But I'm sure the pickup leads are making you more money. So like keep doing it until it's not worth your time. You know what I mean? What do you program your repricer as to make you competitive, not tank prices? I have some videos on my channel that run you through like be cool rules and stuff. I was workshopping that with some coaching guys earlier today, actually testing out a new like conditional rule. Should be pretty fun. Excited to see how it goes. Frontier Co-op doesn't have too many profitable products. Yeah, you're just trying to get ungated. Yeah, it looks like Kelly enjoyed the Be Cool video, so go check it out if you need to go set up your Be Cool rules and stuff. Amazon have you ever sold pesticides? Amazon's making you do a course. Sometimes there'll be stuff that's like classified as pesticide that's not actually pesticide. That's probably why they're making you take the course. I had to take that little quiz or whatever for the same thing. It was like some beauty product that got flagged as a pesticide, and I had to take it, call it a rite of passage. Any advice when you're stuck and cannot find profitable leads? That's a great question. So you're going to want to build like a very basic workflow for yourself. Because right now you're probably just clicking around randomly, maybe doing some reverse sourcing. But just, set aside time to look through, a list of websites that you've sourced before. What kind of coupons are they offering? Is it worth your time manual sourcing there? Maybe the coupons aren't great. Maybe there's no amazing sales. Then from there, jump in with some reverse sourcing and all that. And then use that reverse sourcing to learn like different brands that might be interesting, learn like the brands that people are really crushing on. And then next time you see those sales out there, you're going to be able to manually source through that brand because you saw it on somebody else's storefront. You know that it's going to be a good arbitrageable brand. Do you buy gift cards in bulk? A little bit. Something I need to take advantage of more. First sales month, 1850. Not too bad. That's a good start. Any tips on moving to 5K in March? Probably just doing more of the same, right? Like you, like if you're doing almost 2K in your first month, like you figured out the basics, right? And so then just, maybe buy a little bit more would be the biggest thing. Like learn from the items you bought, be like, oh wow, that when it says it's estimated to sell 500 times a month, it really does mean 500 times a month. So bump up those test orders a little bit. Besides that, just learn new sites to source from and all that good stuff. Since there's more red tape with the retail receipts, do you recommend focusing on OA because there's a lot less risk? I'm gonna focus on OA more just because it's more scalable. Like at the smaller scale, you would run into that, and especially when you're smaller, like one IP complaint can be a lot worse. That said, people crush doing retail arbitrage, so I wouldn't let that really limit you. Just be extra attentive to, when you're using SellerAmp in store, like make sure that the offers count is looking good and all that good stuff. There's no cliffs on the seller count and stuff like that to look out for, right? Use Capital One Spark. Yeah, that's where we put most of our spend. It's like 2% cash back on everything, so. Pays for most of my living expenses just off that card alone. Strategies to get around orders getting canceled. Yeah, so if you're getting orders canceled, then just like test a variable, switch up payment methods, right? Next time, like switch your address around a little bit. Just test individual different variables, and eventually you're going to find a combo that works. And if they just don't want your money and you try a bunch of different things and they're just not taking it, go somewhere else that wants your money and try them again in a week. Sometimes it'll be right back to normally able to spend. Much love for the guys. Appreciate you, Billy. Main credit card use Capital One Spark for most stuff. We also use like an Amex Gold for some other products. Just shifting it up, if for the sites getting onto our Capital One cards, we can switch to Amex, all that kind of stuff. Not want to go into close moment, returns shy away. Yeah, close and shoes, all that kind of stuff can be great, but generally don't recommend it as like your first category because it's another thing to learn, right? So here's some people saying like, go and sell Nikes right away. Like, not the best in my opinion, because you're going to run into returns and it's learning a whole nother side of the business while you're just trying to learn the basics too, right? We're going to drop mass UPC codes, see what items are profitable. It doesn't work as well as you think it would, because anytime you can just mass upload UPC codes and plug it into a software, then anyone could do that. And so you'd have to be running UPCs that other people aren't, and that kind of stuff. So like tactical arbitrage, still decently effective, used to be way better because you could just do that. You could just straight up throw UPCs in and run a scan on a website in like 2018 and it would just spit out profit. You got to be a little bit more creative with the scanning tools these days to spit out profit like that. But give it a try. No harm in trying, right? Do you always do test orders? We don't really do test orders anymore. No. It's all straight away. Mostly just buying like a month of inventory. You buy cigars on Amazon. What's up, Vic? You need them for the next call, huh? You would know better than I if you can buy cigars on Amazon. Got approved to sell a week ago today. That's awesome. You might have the freshest Amazon account in the room, yes. But if you keep showing up to streams and you keep absorbing content and you keep practicing, I can guarantee you that you'll not be the slowest seller in the room, 30, 60 days from now. How many ASINs do you limit yourself in your catalog? Why limit yourself? It's more to manage, I suppose, but if it's like if you think your catalog is getting too full, then start setting a threshold. So like, I'm not going to buy this product unless it makes me X dollars, like for a total buy, and then you're getting higher quality ASINs. Let me share your thoughts on no buy box. No buy box listings can be good because sometimes it'll like scare people away too. So if you can jump in and understand how fast that's selling, then that's like better than having a buy box sometimes. Obviously, your crazy fast movers are usually going to have a buy box, but you can still find some good stuff there. Is it possible to in Europe? Can you make a video about it? Yeah, if you're in Europe, I don't know anything about selling on European markets, but you can sell on Amazon US if you like work with a prep center and stuff. That's what I would do. Although I've heard some of the European markets are pretty lucrative as well. So if you want to learn the European markets, I'm sure there's some other guys out there who are teaching you how to do it. The principles that we talk about apply, but there's going to be small things that are different, right? Can you still see yourself selling Amazon in 5 years' time? Maybe, if it still makes money, if it's still profitable, like why not? Hopefully, I'll be retired in 5 years, but semi-retired, just doing side projects and that kind of stuff. But if I'm not, then might still be selling on Amazon. McDonald's gift card giveaway. Should you add your prep center's address to your seller central? That link your account with other sellers. Some people do that for like ungating and stuff, especially if they're international. I would never do it because I wouldn't want my account linked like you're talking about. But yeah, up to you. I would not personally. What's up, Miles? He is right though. We got 12 likes. If you guys could hit that, it helps me get some more people in here, share some value with other guys. Let's see if we can get it to like 40 or 50. Any tips for Canadians? Start in Canada and then expand to the US because Canadian market is obviously much smaller. So start in Canada, learn the basics so you're not also learning like international business law and all that kind of stuff at the same time. And then once you have the confidence and you know that you want to do it more, then jump into the US. I sent an order to Amazon, realized it should have been a bundle. What should you do? Place a removal order on it. You can get it shipped back to you and bundle it properly. When you get comfortable with not doing test orders, good question. Oh, Nicholas, what's up, man? We just had a conversation earlier today. Yeah, so like as you're growing, you're going to start buying stuff and it's like, man, I wish I'd bought more of that. I wish I'd bought more of that. And eventually it's going to get to the point where you're doing great sourcing and the biggest thing that's holding you back is you're not buying the 10 or the 100 units you should have, and you're doubting yourself a little bit. And so then when you get to that point, it's like, all right, I'm consistently winning. Let me just multiply these orders by 2, 3, and see what happens. And usually it'll go well. But you obviously don't want to just jump in right away and take big risks before you really know what you're doing. Obviously up to your own personal risk tolerance and stuff, though. Ungating in grocery and others for Canadians. I knew like the supplier most people are using. Honestly, you can probably just use like retail receipts and stuff, especially online invoices are working a lot recently. But if there's anyone else, if there's any other Canadian sellers in here, let us know where you were getting ungated at. Real estate next. Yeah, I've been thinking about going to real estate, but it's like I don't want to do even more things at once, right? Like I get like a property manager or something like that, but I don't know. Too many ways to make money out here, I suppose. Champagne problems. Do you have this QA every week? I would like to have it every week, but no. Whenever I get some time. Just second like, that's love. Saw a couple more of you guys hopped in, so if you just hopped in, feel free to drop those questions in the chat over there. Hit the like button, that helps me out as well. Get some more people in here. Often you can ask for a storage limit increase. They actually removed the ability to ask for that because now something that you used to be able to ask for, they're charging for. Classic Amazon move. But the easiest way to get your storage limit increase is just sell more stuff. If you're running into storage limit increases, you're probably selling something way too slow and you just need to cut prices and move on. Nice to meet you in Miami. Nice to meet you too, Steven. It was fun getting to see some of you guys in real life. It's fun to put faces to the usernames. Sometimes it feels made up when you're sitting in an office and it's a number on a screen. So it's cool to see people IRL. When would you start using prep centers? If you're in a high sales tax state, then like go straight away. Don't outsource everything, but you might as well for something that's expensive, right? If you're going to spend $100 on an item and pay $10 in sales tax, you might as well ship it to somebody else, have them pay $2 to prep it for you. First time here. What's up, man? Got to go to Miami. Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. I missed year 2, but year 1 was super fun as well. What's up, Alex? If you guys don't follow Alex on Instagram, he makes good content. AC Flips. Just started, haven't sold anything yet. Have to keep it selling. What's the next step? What's the next? Have as much. I found 2 products with OA. Keep practicing. It sounds like you're doing great. Like you're actively taking the first step. That's awesome. You recommend a prep center in Florida? You can. I still send some stuff to iLogistics down in Florida if you're looking for like an entry-level prep center. We ship some of our stuff there. We ship some to Montana tax-free. We ship a couple places. Will 10-item invoice hack work for the brand new sellers? I don't know if it's really a hack. It's just like the way to get ungated, right? Cool, yeah. And for those of you guys who have hopped in recently, if you are already running an Amazon business relatively successfully, got the foundation understood, all that kind of stuff, I work with people directly to help you scale that. So help you kind of understand how to build a team the way I've been able to build a team. Understand how to source, 2, 3, 10 times faster. Really just those things that help you go from, a 6-figure seller to a 7-figure seller. If you are that guy and you want to work directly with me, there's a link down below for Lightspeed FBA. You can check that out. Looking forward to working with some of you guys. There's a couple familiar names in the chat I've already been seeing. Best stores to reverse source from. Reverse sourcing is usually done like from an Amazon storefront. That would be like manual sourcing if you're going to Walmart and Target. And those would also be horrible sites to manual source. I would never manual source Walmart and Target because there's so many items on there. Unless you're looking at a very specific brand or something like that, you know that Walmart might be your supplier. I would not manual source those sites. Get a second VA this week. They might replace the current one. Are they crushing, or the first VA not do very well? What's sales month before you work with them? Usually we'll look for like at least 10,000 a month. Really depends on how much capital you have. If you have prior business experience, like we don't let newer, newbie sellers who I don't think are going to crush. Like I just don't want to take your money if I don't know that I'm going to be able to help you succeed massively. So that's why it's all application based and all that kind of stuff. It's been awesome to see some of the success stories. Appreciate the $2, Vic. Vic is one of the students in Lightspeed. He's been crushing. I actually got to meet Vic in real life. While all your items show as available, you sent in 18, only shows 4. They're probably still like an FC transfer or something like that. So like they're not fully checked in. If the shipment closed and it only received 4, then they like lost it, and you should be able to get that reimbursed. But it probably is just in like FC transfer. I wouldn't worry about it yet. Coaching fees tax deductible. I am not a CPA, but yeah, of course, any education into your business, like all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's deductible. Like if it's helping your business grow. Capital requirement for Lightspeed. If you have like 10K minimum, you can spend on products right now. Like I said, it's not beginner friendly. It's for people who understand the basics, have capital, and ready to scale quickly. I just don't want to take high ticket on people who are not, who aren't at least intermediate yet, right? Red flag, if all the sellers on the listing have low reviews, I would say it's a green flag, because it means that a lot of the other sellers, number one, is easy to ungate, and it's, if it might be pretty arbitrageable, unless you're worried about IP and you just think it's a bunch of newbie sellers who didn't know what they were looking out for. First VA lacking. Yeah. It's like take that common mistake they're making, train that mistake. And a lot of times if they're not improving that mistake after you talk to them a couple times, like, if they're not going to be coachable, then it's probably not going to make sense. But sometimes you'll get VAs that are not very great at the start, and they're very willing to learn. Like some of my best team members, they were not that great at the start, but they were willing to learn, and they became really good. So really just down to feeling on that. But continue to like coach out that mistake they're making, right? Okay, if you log into Seller Central from a friend's house Wi-Fi, yeah, I would probably just do it on your data though. And if the friend sells on Amazon, it would be not. I would not do it if the friend sells on Amazon. Join Lightspeed this week. That's awesome. How many sales a month consider intermediate? Like it's much more based on kind of your knowledge and where you're coming from. Sometimes we'll have people who have founded past businesses and really know what they're doing. They're not really selling that much yet, but we know they're going to be able to crush. So just go ahead and apply. If you're on the fence, if you think you might be worth it or not worth it, if you think you might be qualified, that kind of stuff, just go ahead and apply down below. You'll be able to book a call with us and we can talk more about it. Because it's somebody's asking, it's a few $1,000s, so it's not cheap. It's for people who know they want to come and scale quickly. So just apply if that's you. We'll be able to work together and help you scale really quickly, right? Before you can afford a repricer, you just need to monitor price, keep within $2 of buy box. It's not $2. It's like 2 or 3%. It really depends on the item. But how much are you selling? Like if you're selling more than like $2,000 or $3,000 a month, just be cool. It's $25. People getting started. What is a realistic goal in dollar of sales in the first 3 months? Really depends on how much time you can dedicate, how much you're willing to like absorb information. That's going to be a huge one. But like I've seen people hit, 20, 30K on month 3. Like in that month, they sold 20 or 30 grand. But those are like the standout cases, right? I would say most people probably sell like 5 or 10 grand in their first 3 months. You have experiences where Prep Center mislabel your items, send a Size 9 with size 8 incorrectly packed. Yeah, like you would do this. You're going to make occasional mistakes too, right? If they keep making the mistakes, it's probably time for a new prep center. But you've made occasional mistakes prepping your inventory too, probably. So, get some feedback. If they keep making the mistake, like clarify, like, hey, can you cover like removal order fees or something like that? Like if it really becomes a problem. But you're gonna make some simple mistakes too, right? Scaling difficult without getting ungated. Yeah, you're gonna have to get ungated and stuff, but you're probably overthinking it a little bit. Wouldn't benefit you as a newbie. Yeah. We have the roadmap. If you want like a more entry level, you're willing to invest in fast tracking your education a little bit, but it's overkill. I don't want to do direct coaching with brand new sellers, because you can do awesome without that direct coaching. I'd much rather help people who are already having success, like honestly, like go crazy and crush. It's so fun to see. Currently at 5K month 4. That's awesome. Like you're all like, even the numbers I threw out, like we're all playing our own game, right? Like you probably have family like at home. You had something come up in personal life. Like the point of starting like a business on your own is that you can go hard when you want to and back off and let it make money when you don't, when you can't, when life pops up, right? Like that's why I think having second income, Amazon business, all that kind of stuff is so important. Partner, I've been scaling to 10K this month, shooting for 15 to 20K spend goal next month. That's awesome. Would Lightspeed be a coach? Would be financed a one-time payment? Yeah, we have a payment plan. So you're in like a perfect position where we don't want to, mess with your cash flow and all that kind of stuff. So we'll space it out for you so you can spend even more money on that product that will help you kind of understand how to source better. Bought the roadmap 3.5 months ago, sold 20K this month. That's amazing. I love to see that. That's fire. Started joining the roadmap. It's a big thank you to Miles. Appreciate you, TJ. Glad you're finding some success there. New send to Amazon workflow March 1st. That's news to me. We use Inventory Lab, so it won't really affect us too much. Why do you find it so hard to find a product? You use Helium 10 to look. Yeah, Helium 10 is not for arbitrage. That's why. Unless you're trying to do like private label, which I don't do private label. If you're trying to do arbitrage, cancel Helium 10 right now. Go get SellerAmp, go get Keepa, and reverse source. And if that sounds like a foreign language, then there's tutorials on my YouTube. Just do like fields of profit reverse sourcing. That's like the best way to start sourcing. For scaling to 1 million plus a year, is it just going deep as hell in certain ASINs or going extremely wide? You don't want to go like extremely wide, because then you lose control of your products. You aren't able to, like, it takes time to manage each ASIN, right? Something I've been working on. We scaled to a lot of ASINs, and now I'm trying to cut to the ones that are like worth our time to manage. Some other people will scale to 1 million off like 10, 20 ASINs. Like there's no correct answer, right? Like anyone, myself included, anyone else out here, none of us have like the correct answers. We're just sharing what we're doing. We're just trying to share how we're finding success. You can do the same thing. I have a good chunk of ASINs. You could probably go in and have 5 ASINs and do the same kind of revenue, right? It's all up to how you're able to do it yourself. Investor roadmap, amazing community, get you on the right track. Appreciate that. Yeah, the roadmap's like our entry level as well. So if any of you guys are more like on the newbie level and you want to invest in kind of fast tracking the learning, that comes with like 12 hours of content, private Discord, software discounts, like it's way too cheap for what it is. Like it was basically Miles and I wanted to build it as like the guide we wished we had when we were starting. Also has 14-day money back. So a couple of you guys hyping it up. Wanted to just share a little bit about that. Appreciate those of you guys who have found value in it and wanted to share that. Great Q&A. Hope you do more. Yeah, I've been doing them. We used to do them a ton back in the day, like a year and a half ago or whatever. We were running them up. We got busy and got bigger businesses, which is a good problem. Anything you get reimbursed for a customer damaged FBA return? Yes, you can, like, what you're looking for is called a safety claim. It's often way more trouble than it's worth, because often you also don't even get like the whole order value back. So at some point it's just one of those expenses. Unless it's like a really expensive item, then you can go track it down. A lot of times it can be better to just go spend that 20, 30 minutes you were going to spend fighting with Amazon on buying more profitable stuff. Oh, $2. Appreciate you, Hector. It's advice to go from 5K months to 25K months. Yeah, if you're doing 5K months, you do not know how to source yet. And so it's all down to sourcing knowledge. So just go practice, like put like, 70, 80% of your time into reverse sourcing. And then from what you're learning while you're reverse sourcing, you're going to be picking up on certain brands. And then when you see those sales popping up, it's like, oh, I remember seeing that brand in people's storefronts. Let me go look and see if there's something potentially there. That's going to be the best way to do it. You just use a keep chart that comes with SellerAmp in the beginning. You could. I wouldn't recommend it long term. If you want to keep it super lean at the start, you could do that for like month 1, month 2. But Keepa has like the offers tab and buy box statistics that we use to get a little bit deeper. Just got SaaS, awesome. User prep centers as billing doesn't match your Amazon account address. Will you run into issues if you hit? Okay, so you're using prep as billing. Yeah, so you don't want to don't make a habit out of that. Our billing address is pretty much always the business address. And it might lead to extra canceled orders, but like if you get the authenticity, requests and all that kind of stuff, you want to make sure that the invoices actually work. And they're not going to work nearly as often if you have an address that's not your business address on there. Minimum net margin shoot for regarding bottom line, not ROI and front end. I'd be shooting, like, my goal is like 10 to 12% net after everything. And that's going to be lower than a lot of other guys you'll talk to. But my goal is not to have the highest margins. It's to make the most money per hour of my time. That's the goal, right? And it should be everyone's goal, right? So I'm shooting for 10 to 12 after everything's all said and done, after I pay payroll and all that kind of stuff. But at the beginning, look, you're going to be probably hovering closer to like anywhere from 15 to 25%, depending on how good you are at sourcing. How'd you acquire extra capital when you started? That's part of the reason why I'm here, my friend. But that's why I think it's funny when you get the like, why are you teaching other people how to sell? Like, it helps me make money that I invest back in my own Amazon business. So that's where I was able to get some extra capital, just from building the personal brand. I also got like lines of credit and that kind of stuff early on, but yeah, mostly just increasing your income, right? How come you're not ASD? I wanted to go, but I was in Miami last weekend. It's a lot to travel weekend to weekend. Thanks for the content you share. Helps so much. Glad it does help you. Started a year ago, sold a little over 60K. Yeah, so like you'd be perfect. If as long as you're willing to hop in and spend dedicated effort, we could definitely help you scale inside Lightspeed. We're usually just looking for people who have a decent amount of capital they can spend on product, because we'll show you how to do it pretty quick. And also make sure that you understand the fundamentals, because I don't want it to be the group where it's like, how do I get ungated? My invoices are, very basic. Like that's not what it's about. I want to build that. Like selfishly, I wanted to build the community of people that, after I help some guys scale, and I think kind of getting there is just able to go talk to guys and bounce ideas off of them, that kind of stuff. Who do you use for bookkeeping, taxes, accounting? I just use a local CPA. If you're looking for someone, I just talked to Chris Potter from Tall Oak. You could reach out to them. Do you know who Vanessa Hung? Yeah, she spoke at Miami when we were in Miami. Should you get a resales permit now as a complete beginner? If you're doing wholesale, yes. Otherwise, it's probably not necessary unless you're sourcing a bunch from like Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot. There's very few stores that actually accept that tax deductible or that the resale permit to get the write-off. How long does it take you to find profit when sourcing? Been going out for 4 hours, only found 3 items. If you're on the newer end, that's not out of the ordinary. Like, it's a very strong learning curve. That's also part of the reason why we can sit here and tell you exactly how to do it, because it takes effort, right? And only a small percentage of people are actually going to, take the effort it takes to make it happen. Sounds like you are. You're spending 4 hours trying to find some products, learning the ropes. Next time you spend 4 hours, you're probably going to be a little bit better, right? And so on. You know, if it's some of your first time, that's not out of the ordinary. I would say, like, if I'm dedicated sourcing, I can usually find a good product within, you know, 5 or 10 minutes at the most, but I also can cheat because I have a bunch of old data to look at and all that kind of stuff. How do you put your FBA business under an LLC? You don't have to do it from the start. I would recommend it if you've got a little bit of money because it's going to protect your personal assets. Some states it's really expensive and, you know, it's prohibitive, so it's not essential, but it'll risk personal assets, like worst case scenario, if you don't do it under an LLC. If you don't set it up under an LLC, it's relatively easy to change it after the fact, so don't overthink it. What's decent capital? If you're talking about for coaching, you got at least 10K in cash ready to spend. How long does it take you? Ready to hire first VAs? How much do VAs typically make? Leads do you expect from them? Really depends on experience level, all that kind of stuff. In terms of like leads per day, break it down in terms of how much you're spending. Like, how much do you expect to make on that VA per day, and compare that to how much you're paying them, and that's the obvious arbitrage of labor that, you know, is the whole point of hiring employees. And yeah, if do a trial period for sure, especially if it's your first hire. Say, you know, hey, we're gonna put you on a 1 week probationary period. After the fact, we'll review. Try to set like specific KPIs. So hey, if you hit, you know, these certain goals, then we'll probably be moving forward together. It gives them something to shoot for. So it's not just subjective. Got 50K in credit available. That's cool. Sold 50K so far. Yeah, keep running up that money. I tried viral launch. I have not. I have done very little private label. I used Helium 10 when I was trying some private label stuff. Small amount of capital, 5K. What's the best strategy? Recommend doing OA. Yeah, do get SellerAmp and start reverse sourcing. 5K is also not like a small amount necessarily for OA. People start with way less and make decent money. So. You bought the Ronut, don't have enough money for dinner. For anyone who's obviously, that's a joke. I don't want your last couple $100. And if you gave me your last couple $100, email me so I can give it to you back. You start with 3,000 USD alone. Yeah, for sure. I started with like $1,500. You don't have to have a lot. Target gift card versus red card. You're getting into the weeds there. I think the red card's usually better than discount rates, though. At least from what I've seen. I don't do a lot of Target. Started the course today. It's been great. Awesome. Interested to start out with used books, very slow and steady as a newbie. Is it still viable? Yeah, for sure. You know, especially if I didn't have a lot of money, I'd do the exact same thing, because you can spend $1 on a book and turn it into $20 over and over and over again. So yeah, absolutely start with books. And if you're like brand new and you're just trying to figure out a way to start, go scan the books on your shelf, the ones that are collecting dust that you haven't touched in 6 months. Send them in Amazon, learn the basics, make $5-10 off of them, and then it's like, oh, I see how to do it, and you can start buying real inventory. Do you recommend FBM? Yeah, FBM is steroids for your cash flow, because you can basically do twice as many cash flow cycles, at least. You've not created the LLC plan to next week. You're relocating this summer. Problem with Amazon? Shouldn't be. As long as if the I don't know, honestly. Should be a problem to change your address and that kind of stuff. But Amazon's always kind of finicky with that. And if anytime you guys are changing like LLC information, bank accounts, addresses, send a message to Amazon beforehand, so that they know, because sometimes if you change your bank account, They'd be like, why did this guy's bank account change? Somebody's hacked him. It's fraud. And they'll shut down or they'll like temporarily suspend your account until they hear from you. So just send them an email ahead of time. All that kind of stuff. Oh, appreciate the $5, Dimitri. Bought the roadmap February 7th, found 6 items, 2 days. That's awesome. Trying to get to 100K in 6 months, starting with $2,500. That's awesome. Well, that's a good goal. See if we can make it happen. What's up, TJ? You got a call with us tomorrow. That's awesome. Looking forward to it, Harrison. Can you use virtual mail address to get ungated? No one take photos outside the US? Probably, yeah. Yeah, that should work. As long as it's your business address. That's what they're going to be looking for, is that the address matches the business address. How to jig the address or name when you have a prep? Same way, right? Like you just might have to make it a little bit more complicated. You know, misspell street, all that kind of stuff. You can do that. I've used Jungle Scout. Yeah, it's not really like, if you're gonna do private label, like Helium 10 is a little better in my opinion. If you're doing wholesale or OA, Keepa and SellerAmp is all you need. So not really necessary in my opinion, but it's good. It works, functions. As far as automation working on your business not in, you plan to transition to wholesale, always mixed with OA. I'm trying to get the OA team to the point where I don't really have to do much at all. I'm already down to not sourcing, not buying, not doing a lot of the very time consuming tasks of OA. So if I can get to the point where the OA business just runs, there's no reason why would I shut it down if it's just going to do its thing. But just moving into wholesale, because just at the point where I'd rather just be able to spend an email and spend 200 grand and be done with it. Because with OA, it takes you, multiple orders to spend serious money, and would love to just drop some big POs with wholesalers and scale that way. But there's always good low-hanging fruit in OA. And it's still it's still the easiest way to get to 100K a month on Amazon. I use easy relatively because Amazon is not easy, but what do you consider as being too many sellers on a product? It's much more so about like the volume in relation to the sellers. So if you have a product with, 50 sellers on it, but it's selling 2,000 times a month, I'd probably still sell it. If it's selling 30 times a month, it's got 50 sellers on it, then it's not a good product, obviously. High ASP versus low ASP, small and light. That's a good question. I think you asked another good question too. I thought you're probably doing decent volume. I prefer high ASP because averages down our prep fees a little more, and I'm pretty much all OA to prep. Small and light's fun as well though. If you can get cheap enough prep fees, you can make some serious ROI in small and light. We do both. Opened your account as a sole proprietor, haven't switched anything yet. So did you switch to an LLC before you list products? I'm not exactly sure. That might be a question for a tax professional there. I'm not sure what that does to your taxes. Started a month ago. Yeah, you're gonna do well. How do you deal with FBM returns? Do you just lose out on the shipping label cost? Yeah, you'll eat the shipping cost. So returns are expensive. Like you gotta price that in, price in that risk, all that kind of stuff. You have Filipino VA. Yep. Most of my team is from the Philippines. Just hired some people just hired a new guy in Nigeria and another one in Pakistan. So I'm just testing some stuff out, see. No reason to limit yourself, right? If it's all online anyway, find the best talent for it. Does Walgreens send an invoice on order of more than 10? It wouldn't call it an invoice, but you can probably submit. Trying to think. I think I've used Walgreens to get ungated before. Their invoices, from what I remember, look. I think if they have the address listed on it, it makes it like more likely to work for ungating. So, just submit it. Like, there's no reason not to. Worst they can do is tell you it's not good enough. And you can submit it a few more times. If they're really picky, then you can try a different site. Does Kohl's ungate work? Just submit the you can try the packing slip or the online fee. What point do you start to use a VA? Yeah, a lot of people get them way too early. So if you're at the point in your business where you are identifying great opportunities and successfully sourcing those great opportunities, and then you're running out of time to source the rest of the great opportunities that you know are good, then you can hire help. Whether that be hiring admin help so that you yourself can source more because you're better at sourcing than a VA is going to be, or you hire a sourcing VA to help you get through the monotony a little bit. Really up to you. Whatever you think you're spending more time on. Vantage BP emails, those have been around for forever. I've never seen them turn into IP complaints. So leave those boys on red. Saw a listing with 30 offers. Checked buy box statistics. 3 sellers had different percentages of the buy box. It's probably based on it's probably just because they had more stock. Like if that one seller had 49% of the buy box, they probably just had like twice as much stock as the other guy. That's usually what it is. I'll appreciate the $5. What advice can you give to Canadians interested in getting into the US wholesale market? Like you can run everything all remote if you really want to keep everything in the US. I would suggest to start selling in Canada because it's going to be less to learn. Like you're not having to set up companies in the US and that kind of stuff. But do whatever is good for your risk tolerance, right? I would just start selling in Canada. Once you understand the basic, then expand, but really up to you. You make LLC, you're supposed to put that info in Seller Central somewhere. Yeah, it's in like your I think it's called like the tax interview or something like that. Yeah, it's in like the backend account settings though. About how much percent of your business is wholesale? Like not very much right now, like 5%. I'm working on getting that up though. That's kind of what my project. Working on getting the OA business mostly automated, but so now I'm going to be doing a lot of wholesale with my time. As a beginner, what should you start using a prep center and hiring VAs? Don't worry about either of those things until you're selling at least several $1,000s a month. You don't really need to worry about VAs until you're spending 5 figures a month on inventory, at least. Yeah. Did small and light minimum price get moved to 12? It did. It sure did. Is 20% ROI acceptable? If it is to you, it's not for me. It's a little low for me, especially after returns and all that kind of stuff. But you focusing only on OA? Do you wholesale too? Like, yeah, I'm doing a little bit of wholesale. Walgreens invoices work. Good to know. I don't remember ever trying to use them. I think maybe once or twice, but I was paying Prep Center $1.50 per item, including bundles, a good price. That's not bad. $1.50 is not too bad. You can get cheaper for sure, but if you're low volume, that's standard. And the fact that it's $1.50 for bundles, that is a good price for bundles, $1.50. A good resource to find a solid prep center. Yeah, just like dig into Google and go down several pages until you're looking at like the small mom and pop preps. Let's see, if you treated a thing and anything flashy. I bought a Tesla. That's like the only nice thing I bought. But you gotta reward yourself a little bit, right? Otherwise, it's just progressively bigger numbers in a bank account for no reason. Just as long as like if you're gonna splurge on luxury stuff, like just make sure you can't really feel it. Like if you're gonna buy something, make sure you don't really notice it. If you buy something luxurious and it hurts, you probably shouldn't have bought it. How much is Lightspeed? Yeah, so Lightspeed's kind of the coaching program I've been doing. So it's not cheap, involves my direct time. So have to price that appropriately. If you can spend at least 10K on products right away, we'll show you exactly how to spend that this month. Give you the exact systems I use to manage my 7-figure business, and then group calls, all that kind of stuff. So if you're ready to scale quickly and you got money to scale quickly, you can apply to join Lightspeed down below. Would love to chat with you. I think a couple of you guys already been applying tonight, so it's cool to see. Looking forward to working with some of you guys. Does Burt's Bees IP? Not in my experience. We've sold some Burt's Bees. How should you deal with IP complaint if you get one? Submit POA through Amazon. You can also reach out to the brand owner, and sometimes they'll remove it if they're especially nice. If the brand IP complains via email or letter, there's no complaint in your account. I generally do ignore those, yes. They very rarely turn into real IP complaints. Have you used Smart Scout? I have not, but I've heard great things about it. So if you're in wholesale, check it out. Scott's great. He knows his stuff. You applied, had to reschedule. Yeah, book another call with us. If you shoot me a DM, if you already applied, I can send you directly to the calendar. So you can save some effort. What's the best way to check for IP issues? Yeah, so I use IP Alert as a software that helps me do a little bit of managing on that. But mostly just looking at the Keepa data. Are there any cliffs in the seller count? On the buy box statistics, has the brand themselves been there? Anything like that, right? Couple little things to look for. Interested in in-person teaching? Want to make ASD style? I just spoke in Miami at an event very similar to that. So yes, I'm a fan of in-person. It's fun. Honest, yeah, Instagram, Discord, whatever. I'll happy to help you out. You've been around for a minute too, so you're definitely qualified. How do you deal with Chrome blocking your VA's pages sourcing outside the US? Give them a VPN. Just buy a VPN and give them the login. How do you know who to trust with lead sharing? That's a good idea, or that's a good question. It's as long as it's an exchange, like as long as you're adding value to them and they're adding value back. That's what it's about. And it's not always just about like sharing leads either. It's like, hey, I got an IP complaint. I know you got one, last week. How'd you beat it? All that kind of stuff. There's just so much value in sharing the journey with people. And that's like, that's why I'm here. Like I want to share the value, share the journey with other people. That's why we built the coaching program, so that high performers can meet each other and connect with me, connect with other high performers. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Just meeting other people who know what they're doing. As long as they're adding value back and you're adding value to them, that's what it's all about. You bought an item from Ross, so it's an unauthentic complaint. Yeah, you can try to use that retail receipt, but I generally don't like to use retail. I generally don't do much RA, partially because it is not great for IP complaints and stuff. OA invoices tend to work way better because your address is on it, and your address is not on the receipt. It'd be a little creepy. When you start to decide paying yourself little by little, especially for full time, that's a great question. Like you got to make sure as long as the business can afford it and still grow, like it's your business, pull how much money you want. Obviously the less you pull, the faster your business is going to grow, but you got to live. So like I personally wouldn't pull, and I didn't pull any money out of my business until it was 6 figures a month. Was just living on like scholarship and that kind of stuff. Obviously that's my own unique setup. You got to pull money. You got to pull money. Your business is your vehicle, right? There's no perfect formula. It's all you need. Couldn't buy something to pay for it 3 times over. Yeah, more than that for a luxury. Way more than that for a luxury. If you can buy a fancy car and you don't like have a house or anything like that, it should be way more than 3 times. Instant light speed is still new. Get some reps on your belt. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if depending on how much you're selling, you can also just feel free to apply. See if you're already a good fit. I'm not sure exactly where you're at in your business. The IP alert ever wrong? Absolutely. That's why you got to look at the Keepa data. Joe, you're cracking me up, man. Thoughts on Inventory Lab versus SellerBoard? SellerBoard's awesome. Ben made a video on SellerBoard recently. I use SellerBoard to manage like all my like restocking and all that kind of stuff. We plug SellerBoard data in like some custom spreadsheets that I built. But we use SellerBoard for a ton of like very useful like restocking data, profit data, all that. And then Inventory Lab is still faster at listing. So if SellerBoard can build a listing aspect that's as good as Inventory Lab, then there will be no need for Inventory Lab. And SellerBoard's way cheaper too. So hopefully they can step in and do it. Would you sell a product for brands also selling and sharing buy box? No, they're going to IP complain you for sure. There's rare cases, I guess, where the brand just doesn't know how to do Amazon, but eventually they're going to try to kick you off. I can make a tax video for Amazon. I just made an interview with a tax professional. I will never individually make a video about something I'm not qualified to talk about. And since I do not have any experience in taxes, I will not be making a video talking about taxes. It's an odd pastime if you're going to make videos about things you're not qualified to talk about, which is a lot of YouTube. You have a system of outsourcing a buyer. Current buyer's wife looking to outsource that by the end of the year. Yeah, like we I work with. I have a buyer. Aside from holidays, end of the year, back to school, any times of the year where sales increase, just around any holiday. Like anytime people get an excuse to run a sale, they're gonna do it. So like any random holiday, like there's always gonna be good sales. And then just occasionally run good sales too. Explain how Lightspeed works. Yeah, so Lightspeed's my coaching program. So when you hop in, we'll have like an individual one-on-one. So I'll get to like write down all your goals. Like I literally have a note sheet. If you're in Lightspeed, I have, this might be news to some of my Lightspeed guys, but if you're in Lightspeed, I have notes on exactly where you're at in your business, especially during that onboarding conversation. I'm going to write down your goals, that kind of stuff. And then I'll be there for you as a sounding board as you go through. So, hey, I found this lead. How much should I buy? You're going to say, hey, I'm thinking of buying 20. I'll say, no, buy 200. So I'll give you that vote of confidence, right? We go do like group calls, all that kind of stuff. So that's where like a lot of the value comes in. You'll be able to network with other high performing Amazon sellers. And then we also set you up with a bunch of other, downloadable sheets, all that kind of stuff that I use to manage my actual business. I think, obviously I'm biased, but I think it would be very, very difficult to fail if you get in and genuinely try. One of the guys I've been working with, he was doing like 5K in November. I think we'll be doing a YouTube video pretty soon, but he did like 5K in November. He looked like he was gonna be able to do pretty well. Started working, he did like 35, 40K last month. So it's awesome to be able to see the guys like put in effort and actually succeed at it. So it is invite, or it's an application only, so you can apply down below as well. How much is it? It's a few grand, right? So that's why it's high. It's higher level, right? So if you're more on the newbie side, then it's not for you, and I don't want your money there. What do you believe is needed to make 6 figures a month? If you're talking profit, then you need to be spending like a few $100,000 a month. If you're talking 6 figures revenue, then it's like 50, 60, 65K, depending on how fast your stuff's going to sell through. It's one time, Joe. So the coaching is one time. No recurring. I know I would probably make a lot more money if I made more stuff recurring, but just doesn't feel right. I don't know. Sweet. I guess I've been going for a little while here. So fire away with any like last minute questions you got. I'll probably go for like, a couple more minutes here. Let me see if I can get through some of these questions. Been good hanging out with you guys tonight. They asked some good questions. Let's see. Have product priced the buy box, but the buy for that keeps changing. What should you do to win the buy box in this case? Use like a repricer. Sounds like you should probably use a repricer. You can check out B Cool. It's like $25 a month. How many days of inventory should you be sending to Amazon at a time? Rule of thumb. We usually send like 30 days. If there's special cases, we might send more. Really depends on, how long you think can I get that item again in 30 days, or am I going to have to wait another 60 days for that same sale to go back around? Like there's a lot of that goes into it too. Typically 30 days before we're buying though. How much volume you need to do 10K per month net? Probably like 60 to 70K. If you're a machine, you could do it with like 40 to 50K. Pulled no money out of the business to pay no taxes. No, you still gotta pay taxes on income because the business still made money. I just put it back into the business. Is there a time frame? It's lifetime, but yeah, it's lifetime. Something you can do to get around buy limits. Place more orders. Start jigging your address. If you don't know what that means, then Google it. Like lots of examples. Add an apartment number even if you're not an apartment. That kind of stuff. You can also just try like using PayPal, Google Pay, that kind of stuff. Try to figure out how many dinners you got to give up. Enjoying the roadmap. Appreciate you, Joe. Which Be Cool AI option is the best? Feels like it tanks. I try to keep most things on equalizer. The sales booster, sales max tends to price tank a little bit, but we do it when we have either a ton of stock or we're trying to price tank a little bit and sell faster. Light speeds every day. Can you ask questions? Yeah. That's what I spend a good chunk of time doing is, making quick Loom videos for my students and all that kind of stuff, like breaking down exactly, hey, you should buy this much on this item, or, hey, I got an IP complaint. How do I deal with it? Like that's stuff I'm here to help with for sure. Does your team handle any inventory? Is it all set outsourced? It's mostly outsourced to preps and all that good stuff. When you first start, what categories should you focus on getting ungated in? So when you first start, sell like grocery items, do some like health and beauty. Grocery, those are good because those are going to be like low return items. If you want to, you can also look into, some maybe a little bit of apparel, but I generally don't recommend that because you're going to run into high return rates. You'll see that as a pretty common answer, but it's generally not the best place to start. So like grocery, health and beauty, health and household is another one. That's a good place to start. But just start the simpler ones, right? Do you have to pay tax while buying stuff for the business? Generally, yes. Unless you can get sales tax exempt on a certain site. How long can you be in Lightspeed? It's lifetime. So as long as we're around, then you can hop on the calls. SellerAmp says Disney Lego aren't safe. Is that true? I generally don't go off of SellerAmp IP alerts. We're usually very cautious with those, so you guys don't run into problems. I'm usually just looking at like the Keepa graph, looking at other products in that brand, like does that brand sell on Amazon, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just looking at other items, looking at the Keepa, that good stuff. Cool. So I'll probably go for another minute or two, and then we can hop off here. How's wholesale going? Good. Calling up some distributors. Placed a 20K PO today. Looking forward to getting into it more. When sourcing, reverse sourcing, what type of product is best? Anything, like especially at the start, like start with something So like if you're a guy who likes to look at shoes, or you're a sneakerhead a little bit, start with shoes if you really want to. Or if you're sitting home, like you're big into makeup or something like that, start with makeup. Like really just start where you have a little bit of passion. Because usually it's also going to come with some knowledge, right? Hey, I really like, this certain brand of makeups and I know a lot about it. Like you're probably going to be pretty good at sourcing it. So just start with something you're familiar with. You give leads within Lightspeed? No, it's not a leads list. You're not going to be dependent on me or anyone else. The goal is for you to be able to build a business that runs, grows, scales, with less and less of your time. It's not a, I'm not a, not going to be spoon feeding leads, anything like that. We do have some like big bolos and that kind of stuff that we're taking advantage of course, but it's not, I'm not going to give you, hey, sell this, sells 30 times a month type stuff. It's much more like, so you can build the machine that consistently fires out great stuff. Awesome. You guys are far away with questions all night. So I'm going to wrap up then. If you guys are interested and ready to scale a little bit more quickly in your Amazon business, you can check out Lightspeed FBA. The link's down below. If you're on the newer side, here's your step-by-step you're going to go take advantage of tonight to go actually take action, right? So number one, get your SellerAmp free trial. Go get your Keep a free trial, and then go watch some YouTube tutorials on reverse sourcing. That's like the easiest way to start. It's going to teach you the basics, all that kind of stuff. That's by far the best way to learn the basics of OA, and it takes it's less than $40 a month in software. No information charges, anything like that. Just go learn that way. But appreciate you guys hopping on here, spending some of your Tuesday night with me. Yeah, good to hang out with you guys. You have a good rest of your night, guys.